It is Monday, September 23rd. In upstate New York, it actually feels a little bit like fall because it is fall. Today, we're talking about a strong EV supply chain, the best lease deals, and millennials aging out of tech jobs.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know.
See, you
I
gotta
think it's
do
kind
me
of
like
ironic.
that.
I think it's
Look.
kind of ironic.
Yeah, well, it is ironic that that's the third story, but you got to do me like that with the whole fall, it's fall finally thing. If
It
you
is.
don't know,
Yeah, I don't
yesterday
know.
is like the official start to fall on
I
the,
knew.
in the whole like moon sun calendar thing, right?
Yeah.
When that happens in
if you follow
Nashville,
that whole thing.
if you follow that whole thing, when that happens in Nashville, it's this weird thing. It's like, like 3 weeks ago, we were like, this might be fall. What's happening today? This morning, I'm at the run. I'm at the gym, and on the TV, the weatherman is going over the weather, and it's like this. It's like got 5 tiers of humidity, and it's like not really, pretty okay, mild, somewhat uncomfortable, and
You're
then
swimming
the
in a
top
pool,
one, which
right?
has a big arrow pointing to it.
Oh,
says,
it's humid in Nashville today.
oppressive. It said oppressive.
Is that what you got today?
That's what we got. We got oppressive and 89 as far as
snap.
no fall for us.
It does not feel like that in upstate New York. Today, it's actually rainy for the first time in a long time. You guys have gotten rain. We have had no rain.
Yeah.
We had a gorgeous weekend, but this morning, I can always tell how the weather is outside based on how my floors creak when I walk on them.
Oh, yeah.
In the summertime, they're quiet as a church mouse. Like there's nothing going on. And this morning, there was a little like the temperature adjusting. I was like, I know it's like under 65, under 60 degrees outside, whatever.
Got a little creaky up in there.
I know it.
Let's
We got a lot going on this week. We got a webinar coming up 2 days. 2 days. Go to asoto.com, scroll. We're going to be talking about turning unresolved complaints into compliance nightmares, or how not to do that, actually.
That's better.
Because, I mean, it's easy to do that, the first one. It's easy. It's harder to avoid it. So make sure that you check that. Put the graphic back up. I won't breeze through it too fast. There we go. Our friends at Dealer Resolve. We're going to resolve. I like the name, too.
It is great.
Resolve. Name. Let's resolve
just
some
resolve
issues. I feel like the world would be better. Can we have political resolve? Can someone
no, you can't have
political resolve.
You can't have nice things, Paul. You can't have nice things.
But please make sure you join us. Go sign up for the webinar. That way you can get the recording, even if you can't make it live. But if you can make it live, it's so much fun because we take live questions. You can heckle us. Kyle and I'll be there moderating the way through that. I don't know what to call it. Through that event. Yeah. I'm on my way actually to Kansas City in just a couple hours, going to VinQ's Unleashed event. Going to be having a panel with Bob Lanham from Carnell, Katie Mayers, and a whole bunch of other things going on at the VinQ event. I'm going to a meet and greet at the headquarters. Have you ever been there? The VinQ
haven't been there. I'm a little bit jealous. Well, okay, so I've been to the old headquarters, but I think they've actually moved into their new headquarters as of the beginning of September. So
so I would get there and be totally surprised because I was expecting that like old school brick wall building, and I'm gonna be like,
no, I think they moved in September. So I went this summer and got to hang out with Danny and the crew there. So, but a really great crew. I'm gonna miss it. for sure.
Yeah. So we'll be there, and we have a lot of travel coming up and a lot of things we're gonna be at. We'll announce more of that in the future, and more than cars things in the future. But thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of it. If you're not on the email, get the email at asoto.com, and let's get into some news. Here's one that I didn't expect to read this morning. Monroe Capital is launching a $1 billion fund.
Wow.
Backed by the federal government. It is all the money backed by federal government programs to support smaller auto suppliers in their shift to supplying parts for electric vehicles. Looking to keep the U.S. competitive. The Drive Forward Fund, as it's called, will be backed by government guaranteed lending via a Small Business Administration, SBA license. The U.S. Treasury also announced a $9.1 million grant to help Michigan suppliers specifically secure EV financing. New U.S. tariffs and EV credit rules are encouraging the shift in supply chains away from China. So this is the U.S.'s move to kind of bolster the U.S. side of that. Here's a quote from Monroe CEO Ted Koenig. He says, the fund will catalyze growth and innovation within America's automotive supply chain.
Period. Yeah. Period. Well, one, like, really cool to see this type of government program kind of be moved through. I will say, like, I think it's important to know that this is going to start to trickle down into automotive repair facilities at some point, I'm sure. But I do love the fact that, like, the small suppliers, because those, I've got a buddy that works for a small supplier that supplies like just one part to like 5 auto manufacturers, right? And it's just this thing, and they all need it, so they're big, but they're not like making engines or anything,
Yeah.
or engine blocks. It's just a small thing. And so you need these like little suppliers to have the funds necessary to make transitions and R&D and all that. So, kudos to the people that put it together, and hopefully we see innovation spurred by it.
We got Jim Ganther just peppering the feed with hard to answer questions. Thanks, Jim.
Oof.
Why not shorten or reshore supply chains for ICE vehicles? Okay. Other question: should the government choose winners and losers? I think we all know
that's a great question. It seems a little rhetorical to me, though. Got him.
He did get him, Jim. Keep asking the questions. If we had better answers for them, we would just give you answers for them right now, but we don't. So we're going to give you something we do have answers for. And that is low-cost leases. We've talked last week so much about affordability issues and consumer sentiment towards pricing. Well, September in 2024 has so many really significant lease deals on EVs for the rest of this month, making it a really good time to move people into an EV if it's a good fit for their lifestyle. Here's some of the top offers. You can get a Hyundai Ioniq 5 for $159 a month for 24 months with $3,400 or $3,900 down. The Ioniq 6 is $239 a month with $39.99 down. You can lease a Tesla Model 3 for $299 a month, or if you add in incentives and use their little fuel calculator that they have, would only come down to $160 a month. Kia Niro, $169 a month with the same $39.99 down, 24 months. And the Chevy Equinox getting on the list, $239 a month for 24 months with $31.69 down. There are a few others going on there, including VinFast. I haven't heard a lot about VinFast. $199
the
a month.
VinFast one is the shocking one.
Oh my gosh.
It's $199 down, $199 a month, which is like back to Kia Rio 2010. Like, it's
gosh,
the same
I can hear all the commercials rolling in my head. $199 down, $199.
Look, these are aggressive lease payments. I will say, when you're looking at a 24-month lease and putting $4,000 down, you're looking at just under $200 a month in raw payment, right? So you're really looking at like a $359 Hyundai Ioniq 5, but even still, with zero money out of pocket.
Down? Where else are you getting that?
Well, it's probably zero money out of pocket plus first month's payment. So you're looking at like $400 up front, $400 a month for an Ioniq 5 is still a pretty aggressive lease payment. With low commitment, 24 months. Super low commitment for 24 months. That's a really low lease payment for a 24-month lease. It's tempting. We're going to continue to see incentives thrown at these, both from the federal government and from the OEMs. Dealers are asking for the incentives because they can't get these cars off the lot in some cases. Although I don't think that Hyundai and Kia are struggling as much as some of the other manufacturers from lot debt, but still fun to kind of to see this type of stuff advertised. I think it's just good for the overall economy. It's like, hey, look, there are cars that you can actually afford in the market.
Right. Talk about getting some people into the market. That's a good thing. Speaking of getting people in the market,
segue time.
There's some nuance and texture to this one.
There's
Kyle.
some nuance and texture, and there's some pain involved too. But with tech jobs increasingly favoring younger applicants, millennials now in their 30s and 40s, welcome your boys, are facing growing competition from Gen Z as employers continue to celebrate youth over experiences, prioritizing the fresh perspectives, fast adaptability, and culture fit. New federal data is revealing that the number of workers under 25 in the U.S. workforce grew 9% annually from 2014 to 2022, surpassing industry averages. Get this, nearly 41% of tech workers are aged 25 to 39, compared to 33% in the overall workforce. So a lot more people in the 25 to 39 age gap choosing tech roles. Workers over 40 are increasingly sidelined despite laws to protect against ageism since 1967. Here's a quote from John Rizzo, a part of the study. He said that Gen X built the tech industry. There's a ton of value there. And he was reflecting on his struggle to find work at 60. Actually, he's just like a regular person trying to find a job. So obviously, like, Gen X built it, but Gen Z is building it right now as far as tech is concerned.
I'm trying to find a quote from this article that I don't know if it was in the email summary I originally saw from this or not, but it was Mark Zuckerberg at 22 years old and saying things that would make any HR department cringe, but basically saying we're looking for people who are young and talented, right? And what he said is basically this. He said, everyone knows, this is him. He's 40 now, by the way, but this is him at 22. We should never be judged by what we said when we were 22.
Ever.
But he said, everybody knows younger people are just smarter. That said like a true 22-year-old.
It's just said like a true 22-year-old.
But here's the thing. It's funny whenever you see a generation who was kind of like making this transition now, right? And they were the ones that were being accused of being ageist, right? And they were like throwing the flag, but now it's like that's transitioning. And I really think the critical element here is that the tech industry, AI, all these things are changing so quickly. It's just natural that the younger generation would adopt the tools and start trying them faster just because they're not established in their ways. However, we're seeing a lot of millennials who are just on the cutting edge. Like they take all their current knowledge that and experience that they have, and they're leveraging, deploying, trying, testing these tools. And it's by far outpacing anything that could be done if you just have a group of, young 20 somethings that are just like full of vim and vigor. So, I mean, I think this is a story that kind of probably loops around every generation.
It does.
And it's just times.
Yep. Well, and I think like this is where, if you look at like millennials, Gen X, and say, hey, look, there's a lot of great process. There's a lot of great business resilience built up in those generations, and pairing that with a perfectly device native, change native generation, right? Like when you think about technology change, they are native to every year iPhone, every year new technologies, every 6 months change in text, like the functional way of interacting with a device. So the ability to kind of like interact with change, think of new ideas, have that type of entrepreneurial like native to them, or even just be device native is super helpful. So when you pair those two, and I think that's what we can get when we're building teams that are cross-generational, is understanding how to pair the thought processes. And this is super important in the automotive industry when we see a lot of young new leaders, but a lot of legacy leaders. And when you can get those two together and understand that no one's opinion is actually greater than the others, you actually get this like really, really holistic approach toward the problem. And if you approach the problem as the problem and not each other as the problem, that's when teams win.
Yo, that was money right there. If you approach the problem as the problem, not each other as the problem, that feels like a winning statement. Look, it's Monday. It's fall. You have a lot of good things. What we're trying to say here is go pay attention to the people.